Hello loves, in today's video I am going to be putting together the Replica Studio. Replica Surfaces is an amazing company for high quality backdrops that you can use for your product photos. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Christina Nicole and I am a product photography coach teaching makers like you how to take your own product photos that attract more customers and make more sales for your product-based business. Now, the Replica Studio is basically a studio on wheels that you can move around your house, and it's created specifically for replica surfaces. The reason I decided to purchase this studio is because I am currently in between studio spaces. I used to rent studio space and I had plenty of room to keep a setup in one location that I didn't have to put up and take down. And now I have transitioned back into working from my home, and we are currently renovating studio space in my home. So I do not have a dedicated place to shoot right now. And this can be really difficult, and a lot of makers experience this same type of situation. It gets frustrating to have to bring everything out every single time you have to do a product shoot. So I am going to be testing this Replica Studio so that I can easily move about locations in my home, easily put my backdrops and my setup away in between shoots because I do not currently have a dedicated space. So if you don't have a dedicated space to shoot in your home, this may be a great solution for you. As I mentioned in this video, we are going to be unboxing the Replica Studio and putting it together. Now, the Replica Studio does retail for $380. I picked it up during a $100 off sale, so I paid $280 for it. Some of the features and benefits of the Studio are that it's easy to assemble, and I'm going to show you how here in just a minute. It's on wheels, so you can roll it around your house, and you can also lock it into place when you find the perfect light for your product shoot. It has an adjustable height, so you can put it up high when you're shooting straight on, but you can put it down low for those flat lays, so you don't have to climb up on a stool. Not only does it hold your replica surfaces perfectly, there are different spots for you to put additional light modifiers. So let's get started. So when you order your Replica Studio for Replica Surfaces, your shipment will come in 2 separate boxes. So let's get these open and see what's inside. Okay, let's see what this little paper says. Your studio is here. Please scan the QR code and follow assembly use instructions. Warning, it says remove tabletop prior to adjusting tripod height. Insert locking key into tripod hole at desired height prior to placing the tabletop back on. Perfect. So the video is very thorough and wonderful. My suggestion to you would be to go to this link and watch the assembly video in full just so you can be prepared on all the steps you will be taking. I am personally, since I am on video right now, I'm going to go back and I'm going to utilize the written instructions to kind of do the step-by-step process moving forward. The only thing that I feel like I did not fully retain from the actual video was the size of the screws and which hole they go into. So I'm going to be referencing the written instructions for that, but it looks like it's going to be super simple. So let's get started. Open this up quick. This is not part of the actual studio as far as installation today. Replica has included 2 flags in their packaging as well, which is super awesome, and a little description of how you would go about using them. And then they have a QR code to watch a video on flagging. Flagging just basically means blocking light. Now, Mandy does recommend that you put a blanket down to protect the top of the studio. We are going to flip it upside down. And I'm going to actually turn this way so I can kind of get behind it in front of you guys while we do this. Okay. So we've got a large screw, a medium screw, and a tiny screw. I'm going to go ahead and place all of our screws out and about and get all of this unpackaged. Now, the first instruction was to remove everything from the packaging, correct? Second instruction is to remove the casing and place this on a blanket upside down. Our next instruction is to actually place washers on all of the large and medium screws. Okay, let's move on to our next step. We are going to first take a corner piece and we are going to place it, and I'm going to do it just like her video shows. So it has this portion of the tripod connectors this way, and we are going to do this side first. It says loosely install a medium screw into the hole closest to the corner. The corner piece should be loose enough to pivot at the screw so that you can easily install the other screws. It's at a medium size. And it does come with a little tool. However, I am going to get my handy dandy. It's just a little, it's called a rapid fire. It's kind of like a drill, but kind of like a screwdriver. It's like a cheap little household drill that we keep handy inside of our house because all of our other tools are out in our workshop. Okay, we still want to be able to loosely move that. The tool that was included in the packaging will work perfectly fine. It just takes a little bit longer. Now it's going to say loosely install a medium screw into the second hole. The corner piece should still be able to wiggle a little bit so that it's easy to install the third medium screw. So it looks like we're using medium screws for all of these. Okay, now it says we can go ahead and tighten all the screws, but not too over tighten. Perfect. Now it's going to have us move over to this one. We're going to repeat the steps and install this second corner. We want to make sure we install the corner adjacent, not diagonal. So we're going to move over here. And it looks like all of these pieces are the same. There's no confusion on which piece goes where. Now the next two are going to be a little different because we're going to be adding the handle to it. So we're going to start back over on this end. I'm going to get these opened. These are just little pieces that we will connect the handle with. Everything is packaged nice and protected nicely. Okay, so we're doing the center. And again, keeping it loose. We're gonna do the one closest to the previous one that we did. And you'll see why here in a second. And then we're gonna take this piece and we're going to put it in there, and we want the little nub of it to be facing this direction because we're going to attach this to it here in a minute. Slide that in, and then we're going to go ahead, loosely install one of the long screws into the hole. Okay, so here's where, let me just double check that both of these were, medium screw at this point, two corner pieces. Place the handle, and we're going to do a long screw. And then we are going to move over to this corner and do the same thing. So we're going to focus on a middle screw in the corner piece. A medium screw. Did I say middle screw? A medium screw in the corner piece. Keeping it loose. And then another medium screw adjacent of the piece we did the second time. Okay, and then we are going to take the handle, and we want to have the holes facing upward, and we're going to slide that onto the nub that was on this corner here, and we're going to take this piece and slide it in while at the same time getting it into that there. Okay, and then we're going to do the long screw in the third corner where we just put our stuff in. And then we're going to go back through and tighten everything up nice and tight. Perfect. And we're going to install a small screw. They've got teeny, teeny, tiny 2 screws into this handle. Awesome. And if you don't have, again, this little piece that was included is just like a Phillips head screwdriver, so it'll work perfectly fine. It just takes a little bit longer than my little handheld screwdriver that's kind of like a drill. And the actual instructions she has us tightening the third and fourth corners now. I did them behind. Make sure you follow the instructions and don't tighten them too tight as well. Now we're going to be removing the tripod from its packaging, which we already did. Now we're going to be opening the tripod. Looks like we have some more over there. This just will function just like any type of tripod where you can adjust the legs. Of course, you're going to want to have it in a position where you're going to get the most structure, which appears to be, see, you notice how it gets small again, and then it's a size for a while, and then it starts to get small again. You want to get that middle ground right there. And once we have that, we're going to use this here, and we're going to tighten it nice and tight so that it does not come loose and start to move. Now, I will say, super, super impressed with the quality of this tripod. The plastic is very high quality. The metal itself is very thick and high quality. The wheels look great. Again, they have a locking system to them. Looks like they come locked. Okay, we can sit and move it around like this. So for purposes right now, we are going to go ahead and lock those into place by easily just pushing down on these nubs. Awesome. And then we're going to loosen this knob a little bit so we can adjust our height. Okay. I'm going to put it about here. And what you're going to do is take this little key and you're going to want to find the hole. There we go. Or it just goes all the way through. Okay. There isn't a hole. That's what actually locks it. So you'll see here. It goes all the way through, and that's what keeps the height locked into place. Okay. I was thinking that it would go into a hole, but it comes all the way out the other side, so that's perfect. So now our actual tripod portion is at the height that I want it to, and it's locked in place. So we're going to take this and we're going to flip it. And we're going to put it on top. And I'm going to double double check this. There's another knob here that we are going to put on the bottom here. You will see has an option to put it into a hole down here. You may not be able to see that. I'm gonna check something here quick. Is that screw? Okay, so that's what's going to push. That's kind of cool. I'll show you guys that. I was looking at this and seeing the screw is kind of wonky, but there's going to be a piece in here, and see how it pushes the screw up, and then when it's pushed down, it's proper. But that's this little green thing inside. That little green thing inside there, that is what is going to catch the knob when we go to tighten it. Okay. So we're gonna put it back on. And grab our knob again. I wanna make sure I have this. I don't like how that piece seems to be pushing inward. The top screw is like pushing outward a little bit, so I wanna make sure. Now, supposedly this is where we can tighten it really tight to prevent it from moving, which in doing so, I actually, because I'm going to be using this up against a window, so I want to think about how I'm going to place this. So I want to have my arm, because I may be using, actually, I'm going to do that this way. I want my arm closest to the window, because if I do use a diffuser, I can stick it in that side. And then I want this side to be able to put a reflector on. Now the other thing to think about, which actually it looks like it doesn't exceed too far, but the wheel exceeds a little bit here to the left of this. Now I want to put this on in a way, and this is the same with any tripod. If you need to get up and close with something, you want to make sure that you have it turned in a way where it's going to allow you to get as close as possible. We want to get as close as possible to our window and our light source so that we can create those soft shadows and make sure that it's a large light source. So think about this when you're setting up and how you're going to actually use it. So this is about where I would like it to be. And so I'm going to go ahead and keep it as level as possible and tighten this baby up. Now, according to Replica in their instructions, I feel like I'm not necessarily doing this right because it's not laying flat all the way. So I wonder if it's actually catching on that. I'm going to take a look at this again. So when you go to put this in, I talked about that green thing in there. So if I push these two screws down, that green thing is gonna pop out. What we wanna do is we wanna make sure that green thing is pushed all the way in when we go to put this on. So your screws are gonna be out a little bit so that we can actually get this all the way, get the stand all the way to the top, okay? I think that was my problem. Which is good that I ran into a problem because now we can kind of fix, there we go. Much better. This seems to be the only issue that I ran into that was not addressed in the actual instructions. So just make sure that green thing that's inside of this is pushed all the way out so we can get our pole all the way up. Okay, and the looser that well, it actually can move this way as well. So I'm actually gonna make sure we tighten it as much as possible. You don't want to over tighten though, because you can break these twisty things sometimes. But again, as I mentioned, this all seems very high quality. We can go ahead and tighten this too to give some extra, well, that would not allow us to move. So now that I've tightened this, we can't rotate. So we can either undo the top a little bit, which is what their recommendation is, to do some rotation. Okay, but if you do that, it becomes a little wobbly. So because we're using, that's better. Because we're using this pin locking system, I'm actually going to loosen this a little bit. so that we can rotate it here. The only thing to be mindful of is you only have a little bit of a string here, so you can only go, you know, a certain times around the moon before it's going to tighten up that cord on the pin. But where'd my handle go? I want mine to be structured just like this, and I won't be doing any moving, so we are going to tighten that up. Wow, how easy was that? In less than 30 minutes, I unboxed and set up my new Replica Studio. In full transparency, I did not receive any type of compensation for creating this video. I am a Replica Surface user. I love Replica Surfaces and personally use their products. However, I am going to include a link in the description below this video. As a Replica Surfaces VIP member, I do receive rewards for referring new customers. Anyone who purchases Replica Surfaces and becomes a Replica Surfaces VIP member has the ability to sign up for rewards. You receive rewards when you personally make purchases and also when you refer people. So if you would like to check out Replica Surfaces' amazing backdrops or this Replica Studio, check the link in the description below this video. It is my personal rewards link, and you will be prompted to enter your email address to receive 15% off your first order. Once you make your first order, you will have the option to become a rewards member yourself, where you can receive rewards for purchases you make and also rewards for referring people. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below this video and I'll get back to you. Please take the time to like this video if you found it useful, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more about taking your own high quality product photos. See you next time.